Welcome in, and thank you so much for joining me today. So, when you're going through these major life transitions, any kind of major move, an upgrade, or whatever you want to call it, it requires you to step up in a new way. And so, there's going to be layers of you that have to fall away in order for the new to come in. You have to make space for it. So when you're moving out of that space between who you were and who you're becoming, like the new career, maybe the new business that you're building, or the moment before you really fully embrace the next iteration of yourself, whatever it is, that last little bit of your old self is trying to hold on for dear life, giving you one more challenge before the breakthrough, or many. It kind of depends. And if you've gone through this before, or you're there right now, you probably know what I'm talking about. But there's also this intense anticipation and excitement, and yet though you're still feeling a little unsure. These major transitions can really stir the pot, kicking up old emotions and things, kicking up old stories and beliefs, anything that's really ready to be released from the system that won't serve you moving forward. And that is the old self's desperate attempt to derail your efforts. Just one more time. Let's see if she's got this or they've got this. So then with that anticipation and excitement, there might be this feeling of anxiety, like a pit in your stomach. And of course, our old friend doubt might even show up. And looky here, he brings his old friend fear, who's strutting his sassy little self. And they all converge right before the expansion, causing this resistance. There's this feeling of like, what if I'm not ready? What if I'm not, going to do this right? So I've experienced it kind of like, I've been floating in the abyss of the ocean for like ever, it seems like, between who I was and where I'm going. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's like I'm being shoved towards land, and it's like, okay, go, it's go time. We have to go now. And I'm like, whoa, like, let's slow down just a little bit. Now I see the shoreline and I'm like, am I even prepared? Like, what's out there? Yeah, so moving onwards on this new path can feel a little daunting, even if there is excitement, because once again, it's unknown. And it's funny because the abyss actually kind of became a place I understood and I was like cool with, It took me a while to accept it, but I did. And that kind of became my new norm. And so now I'm being asked to change again. And of course, all this fear comes up. It's like I have to have it all figured out before I reach the shoreline. I have to know exactly what I'm doing. Like, how do I proceed? And for me, this is about my work, right? So this is what got me in this conundrum in the first place. Yeah, so when I sat with this, I remembered having a lot of fear around starting tattooing. I had a whole bunch of, what ifs floating around in my head. Like, what if I mess up? What if I can't do it? What if I hurt someone? What if blah, blah, blah? But then I actually remembered this random thought came in, and it was like, there was a big portion of my career where I literally was not taken seriously. And I felt like it was sort of a constant battle of like having to prove myself, like proving that I was like worthy of or capable of doing tattoos. It was, yeah. So because of who I was tied to my work. So then in a way, me having to prove myself was to prove my actual self, like my actual being. if that makes any sense, if it seems a little obscure. But this was not something that I was like consciously thinking of, by the way. This was, yeah. But when I really looked at it, that's when I realized that I had to have it all figured out in order to move forward or prove myself that I knew what the heck I was doing. Yeah, and that kept me safe, right? Like if I knew, that would keep me safe. Yeah, but it can also keep you stagnant in the same loop, unable to move forward, which that's actually where I ended up. And so being in this place now requires, you know, a new level of self-trust. It's like it's constantly building on the self-trust. Like you get one story, one thing you got to do, you build a little self-trust, then the next layer of self-trust comes in, the next layer of self-trust. So what I was realizing is that we're basically kind of like artists, right? And life is our canvas. And if we question starting a painting, let's say, for fear of not being prepared or wondering if we would like mess it up, yeah, as an artist, yeah, you wouldn't start the painting. You would just, no. But so being on a heart-led path, I realized you can't mess it up. It's just impossible. And just like the painting, it's a creative unfolding, you know, an experience and a discovery, and an ever-evolving one, really. You know, you might have the intention to start it one way, but then it could end up being completely different than what you thought it was going to be. A lot like life and situations and experiences. And of course, it's like refined along the way, right? Crafted and then recrafted and recrafted. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm making it a word. And it allows for the aliveness then of the soul, right? Especially if you give it some space without all the planning and structure. Flying by the seat of your hat, seat of your pants, or the hat, either way. Sometimes I really wish that life came with an instruction manual, like, you know, how to do this life thing. But then, honestly, you know, it would be like taking the mystery out of life, and that would be kind of boring. You know, it would take the serendipity out of the otherwise wild experience that we have and turn it into some kind of like created like performance. Granted, sometimes, yeah, a little no chaos would be great. But you know what I mean. And so I've learned, you know, over the years that sometimes, you know, what's needed is a lot of courage and fortitude and strength and determination and all the things to keep pushing forward, even if it feels scary. So I'm deploying that now, like for real. But it's really just to, you know, let the new adventure unfold, you know, with every step. And to lean more into self-trust. And to be okay with not having it all figured out. Yeah, so if you're at this kind of threshold, or if you've been in a transition similarly, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. I know we've all had our own experiences with this in some level, some degree. But thank you so much for being here with me and for listening to my crazy story, following along with the journey. Yeah, until next time.